There it is. That means we are on the air. No, that means that we haven't recorded the music yet. And that came with the machine. Hey, I like it. I'm starting to like it. And can we get a big applause for you, for the work you're doing? That's great, Mario. Excellent. Producing At Home with Wes is great, Mauro Cavasana, 4 Tower. That's just the number 4 and tower.com. Amazing guy. Everything he does. I'm Wes Taylor, America's general contractor, and together we're bridging the gap between homeowners and their homes. We used to do it every Saturday. We used to do it every weekend on the air. I'm a veteran Clear Channel and iHeart talk show host, and we're going to be doing it again, nationally syndicated. But for now, you're listening to the podcast. I'm glad you're here. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on admin. I'm a home expert, real estate, development, rental property. It's not that I'm smarter than anybody else. It's that I'm just the most passionate. I love it, live it, breathe it. We do this to increase your quality of life, every one of these podcasts. Now, I'm going to just jump right into it today, or tonight. You don't know. I don't know. And, we've all heard that money doesn't buy happiness. That is such a stupid statement. One's not dependent on the other. I think that's kind of what they're trying to say. See, I kind of disagree. I think money kind of does buy happiness. Now, it doesn't buy everlasting and infinite joy that we find through God, or some people golf, or whatever you're into. I would rather be very sick and be very wealthy. I think that's fair. I think I'd rather be heartbroken or go through trauma and have lots of resources than be living under a bridge. Call me crazy. You're agreed. So, we talk about comfort. That's food, right? Clothes, healthcare. You got entertainment. I would agree that wealth is overrated. I'll tell you it's overrated. I used to think that wealth would mean no more problems, or very few problems, right? Now, true. There's very few problems that a big check can't solve. But life didn't get easier with wealth. It became a lot more complicated. You had to pay attention. You had to watch back. Socially, right? In a lot of ways. I think, too, though, that comfort is the most underrated thing, and especially in this country. Most of the world knows this already. I mean, North Korea, walking around on their hands and knees looking for something to eat. Same thing down in Cuba. Same thing in China. And you go to these countries where they're still a little bit old school, a lot of European countries, South American countries, where comfort, that's the ideal. There was a great statement written from, I think the movie was Wall Street. Remember, as Michael Douglas played Gordon Gekko, greed is good. That was a great line in a movie. And I don't know if greed's good. I guess. Do you care what the guy who invents the cure for cancer, do you care what he gets? I don't. I think we've all learned to trust Big Pharma to some degree. Let me go back to that previous screen. When I was growing up in the 70s and 80s, those were the years I was in school, and there was always this, or the advent of this, get rich quick. You got to be rich. Everybody's got to be rich. And this is how you do it. And all these multi-level marketing companies just started coming out of nowhere. And you have people that were truck drivers selling A.L. Williams insurance. You have a guy that was maybe a shoe repairman, and he's selling Shockley vitamins, or Shackley, I don't know how you pronounce that. And you've got Gulf Signs, and the big one that came along, and by the way, I'm not going to down the company. It's a great company. I remember when I was younger, I was involved with it, and that was Amway. I mean, everybody got into Amway, and that was the big thing. They were the epitome of the multi-level marketing, and they had great products. I think now you get like hot air balloons and cars and things like that through them. But they were a Southern company. And though I was born in the South and I've been in the South most of my life, I was raised out West. And I love these little, what do you call them? Colloquialisms, something like that. And they'd get on there and they got these $1,000 suits talking about Amway and how rich you can get. Look at it. Oh, so-and-so did it, and he did it too, and I'm in his line. And now you're going to have friends that say that they don't want to get rich, or that they don't want to be rich. Well, let me tell you something. Pigs don't know pig steak. Where do they get these things? And I used to love it. Are we on that screen yet? Is that, there it is there, right? all these great companies. But and here's the thing. It wasn't for everybody because they get you real jazzed up. Everybody wants comfort and everybody wants money and all this other stuff. And we're going to find any way we can do it, right? But I don't know of a company, I've never seen an opportunity, or I've never seen a company where you can get in and master the sales science, okay? Where you can all of a sudden now become super disciplined because, I mean, you're not even disciplined in your own life, right? We all have our own battles and things we're trying to give up. You've got to stop going at Sonic and Burger King at 10 o'clock at night every night and wondering why you can't lose weight. You got to make some changes. And not everybody's ready to be supercharged 90 hours a week, pure business, damn the torpedoes. They're just not made that way. The average person is not made that way, and that's why there's so few really, really wealthy people. That's just the way it works. I don't think we need to demonize each other over the thing. But again, I can't think of any business that you can get into where you don't know anything about it, you don't have the sales science, or you don't have the education, and you don't have whatever it takes to get in that business and to do really well. Today we're going to talk about the rental business. I've got a class, it's at the website, it's called The Successful and Profitable Landlord. It's about a 3-hour class. It's going to teach you everything you need to know about the rental property business. I'm not rushed like I am here, and I actually I have a little help when I'm getting filmed with the teleprompter. I can move a little more smoothly. What comes to mind when you think of the rental property business? I know the first two things y'all going to think. Y'all going to think of. What is the first one? It's either money, getting that money. Oh yeah, we're going to make mailbox money just because we own the thing. The other thought is, no, I remember Tom went through that, or my folks went through that, or man, I wouldn't get in that. Man, renters are terrible. It's a terrible business. It can tear your place apart. Then you have to evict them. It's just horrible. Man, we got out. Those are really the two main things that we hear, that we associate to the rental business. The problem is there is some truth to all of it. Yeah, the money can be great. The short-term money might be great, maybe. But the goal in the rental property business is not to get wealthy this month. It's to own the asset, the equity, the long-term equity position. We get the equity. We take out a line of credit. We buy another one. Now we get that equity and so forth. And great tax benefits from having them. That's the reason you get into the rental property business. And you should have a slogan that says something. I'm in here to provide a really good quality home for somebody else. In exchange, I get paid handsomely. Okay? The problem with the rental property business is that most people get into it without knowing anything about it. I know because I've been the guy that held their hand as we got into it. I helped guide them. I taught them everything that they would need to know about the rental property business. They were successful. They had me at their side in the beginning. Not everybody does. That's why I'm a fan also of maybe your first time out going with a management company, tenant placement. They help you find the renter. They do the contracts. That's really important. They manage it. You can learn how to do it. It's a business expense. It's like any other business. Okay? The problem with the rental property business is that you're going to be faced with several critical decisions. You don't know they're critical. You hear them give an answer based on my emotion or, well, Donna said this, and of course my Uncle Ned told us that, and so we're going to go with that. Oh, really? How do you know they were right? This is a business. This is your key. This is your key to wealth. Maybe short-term, but long-term wealth, generational wealth. This is the key to your retirement. You're going to go on what Uncle Ned said. How do you know? If you're going to go into a business, you have to know. And when someone gives you advice, you know whether they're telling you the truth or not. You've got to know. You've got to have the information. Knowledge is everything. And that's any business that you go into. Okay. Now, as I said, real estate and the rental property may be the only business that you can get into without much experience, as long as you get the asset and you have knowledge. Okay. With the knowledge, you can succeed not only today, but tomorrow as well. All right. Now, I'm just going to go through some minutia here. This is important. A lot of people, if you get a rental property, it might be, hey, look, I found this thing wholesale. We got a great deal. We're going to put some paint on it, turn it into rental property. The other one might be, well, we're going to, instead of selling our house because we're getting transferred or we're moving or we made a lot of money or we got great equity, we're going to buy another house. We're going to keep this house as a rental property. I've seen a lot of that, and that's great. The other one might be that I have inherited a property or I've inherited a couple properties. All right. How much do you know about the rental property business? You've got the asset. You're ahead of the game. Imagine that. You're getting into a business where you're ahead of the game. I want to keep you there. All right. Where's the property? Where's it located? I mean, is this in an area that's conducive to attracting not a renter, but a good renter? Okay. Maybe a student, maybe a young professional, maybe a settled professional, maybe a family. I mean, what are the particulars about the property, right? How many bedrooms and how many bathrooms? That's critical. Well, it's 3 bedrooms. Well, that doesn't matter. How many bathrooms? Prices in the country today for a rental property are higher, 3 times higher than they've ever been on a national average. Historically, to afford rental property, you got to be an adult, and that means you got to have roommates. How many you people who are watching this? I bet you all of you are adults, at least legally. Would you share a house with a stranger or a buddy, and you have to all use the same bathroom? I mean, what is this, a barracks? No, you want a competitive property. How many bathrooms and how many bedrooms it has is important. Also, well, you didn't think about this. Parking. Well, you can get 2 cars in here. Well, yeah, but it's a 4-bedroom house. Remember, roommates. Think these things through. What's important to somebody who buys a house? What's important to somebody who rents a house? Storage. You guys are on it today. If you're attracting younger folks, is the place conducive to, is it nearby nightlife, clubs, music? There's areas, parts of town, certain cities that attract healthcare people. Is it close to hospitals? Is it safe? The demographic in this particular house is going to be 3 nurses, right? And they all come with this much money. That'll help you price the thing out. Now, here's the other thing. This is really important. Are the walls the right color? Wes, don't worry about that. My wife picked the colors out. She says it'll make them happy, right? And I've seen that a lot, too. You get in there, like parakeet colors, parrot colors. This room is a crazy green. That's a crazy yellow, and that one's crazy blue, where someone's going to move in and ultimately commit suicide. Yeah. So, I mean, do you know what colors are in right now? Have you talked to a realtor? Have you met with a property management company? I mean, at a minimum, at least talk to somebody who knows. Because what your wife thinks or what you feel or what you believe or what somebody may have told you or what you think or what makes you angry or what makes you happy is of no consequence, okay? I'm not going to get to sell more stocks and bonds and be a successful stockbroker because of the way I feel about something. I got to go by the facts. And this is the part in so many startups that you guys, we forget. We're human. But that makes you weak. That makes you not a contender. You want to be successful in business? Learn your business. Do it well. Do it better than anybody else. Get there faster. In this case, it's having a great property. It's being a great owner. We're going to talk about that in just a minute. And it's getting a great renter. That's where I'm going with this. Okay? And remember that somebody's coming to look at a rental property. To them, the psychology, subpsychology is even more important than emotional neuropath, we'll call it. Is the same as it is when somebody's buying a house. This isn't just a rental. This is somebody's home. And I think everybody forgets that. Well, and especially the bad. If I hear you say, they just turn the podcast off. Well, it's just a rental. Well, this isn't for you. Well, if you're smart and you want to learn, maybe it is for you. If it's just a rental, then you're going to attract just a renter. Okay. So the idea in a business is for your product to be attractive to as many people as possible in that demographic. Do you know your demographic? Do you know who it is? Or are we just guessing again? You got to find out who that is. And no business that I know of puts their product on a shelf and it looks dirty, or the package is torn, or the plastic is punctured, or the product inside looks like maybe it's spoiled. I don't know any successful companies who put their product out there on a shelf and it doesn't look perfect. In fact, you talk to Procter & Gamble and all these companies that have spent billions of dollars, especially advertising and detergent. You've got dishwasher pellets that look like Christmas candy now. You see what I mean? Oh, they're pretty colors and so forth. Oh, yeah. What do we got next? Now, you got a lot of you seasoned entrepreneurs, professional stockbrokers, bankers, but you know what I'm talking about here. Some call this a method or a theory. I call it due diligence, and I think it's SWOT. That's what we're getting ready to talk about here. And SWOT is an exercise in making make sure all your bases are covered before you get into a business. Well, the SWOT is no different here because remember, we're getting into a business. It's not something you just feel good about and you're going to get money. And by the way, before we get too far, if you're making money every month, like we got the asset just before Mom passed away, she had it updated. We got a new kitchen. It's competitive. We're going to carve out another parking space. It's competitive, and you own it outright. It comes out of a trust, tax-free or something like that. Yeah, you're making money every month. You may be clearing $1,200, $1,800, $2,400, $2,800 a month. That's great money, and you can use some of that for your bills and so forth. But the best thing to do is to put that in an account, an operating account. That's the idea here. That way when you need a roof, that way when you need HVAC, that way when idiots from the metro government shut down your city or a tornado comes through, you've got a nice, we call it reserves, 6 months, 8 months, a year of reserves. That's important. Now, but I'm going to talk about the SWOT method and how it relates to the rental property business because it's important. Now, you can come up with more examples, but I'm going to lead you at least in that right direction. SWOT, SWOT. That's an acronym for 4 words: strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. All right. So let's talk about the strengths, just a few of them, because we're gonna fly through here. Well, one of the strengths is we inherited the property, or we got a great deal on the property, or we've already got the property. It's our home, and we're going to keep it as a rental as we buy another house. You're a step ahead of the game there. That's a huge strength. You've already got the asset. You've got a seasoned property manager or a seasoned advisor who knows everything about this business, has succeeded, has failed, and then succeeded. Okay, because almost all people who have succeeded have failed at one point or another. Okay. You have cash reserves. That's another strength, guys. Oh, and I'm good at communicating and keep great records. And well, I've got a degree in accounting and finance, or I'm a lawyer and I understand the laws and I'm going to abide by the laws. These are strengths, and all those things come in so handy. What are the weaknesses? Let's go to weaknesses. I'm thinking you got into the thing. You have very little cash. You need a new roof, and the HVAC goes out. You don't have it. You don't have enough to get the property up to codes or compliant. You need to know what those are. They're real easy. You can go to your website, your Metro website, find out, the rental property business, or and they'll give you codes and guidelines and what the laws are in your particular area. You're going to have state rule. You're also going to have federal rules, especially when it comes to showing the property and you're advertising the property. Civil Rights Act. You see what I mean? There's a lot you need to know because you can get sued pretty easy. Here's another weakness. The property might need a lot of work. Right? You don't need laws or don't know the laws or codes. You get fines, you taxes. It's in a bad location. I mean, those are all weaknesses. Also, your lack of knowledge would be a huge weakness. That's more falls under threats. Let's look at opportunities. In the investment property business, you join these real estate investor networks. Every metro's got them. We've got a few of them here. We're in Music City, broadcasting out from Music Row. So you get to meet a lot of people. You can partner with these people and buy more property, which means you get wealthier, faster, and bigger. That's one of the greatest things about the rental property business. I think the money position is every year you get an increase in the value of that property. That's equity. And by the time you're ready to retire and that thing is doubled and doubled and doubled, which has helped you to buy other properties, and that's doubled and doubled. And over here in doubled, you've got an out strategy. Look, we're going to sell this thing. We're going to sell this for $20 million. We're going to go to Jamaica, or we're going to go to the West Indies. Bye-bye. That's a great strategy. Or you might keep it and then give it to your beneficiaries. Yeah, that's another great thing. So financial security. Here's another one: is there are great tax implications for rental property, write-offs, depreciation schedules, and so forth. Talk to your CPA about that. Make sure, and now that it's a business, you don't just have a bookkeeper, unless you're real smart. You want to have a CPA. Make sure they do all your paperwork, file everything correctly for you, stay out of trouble. What are the threats? This list is so long, we can't cover it in a podcast. I could do several podcasts. We can't cover them all. I can go into details. I can give you gory details. I can give you bloody stories. But it is the longest list of all. Number one, lack of knowledge on the part of the owner, getting into the thing, guessing their way through. That is a huge threat. Well, we built this ad and we said that it's real close to the church here, which that's illegal. And you attracted this nice young couple. And, he's a handyman, so you're going to be able to save money there on maintenance requests. Isn't that great? And she looks just like she looks like your niece, Donna, from Burley, Idaho. Is there even a city called Burley? I think there is. So, and they're just going to be great. And we just got a little lease here, and they used a one-page lease that they got offline. It doesn't cover anything that needs to cover. There's no detail in those things. And guess what? Yeah, he's a handyman, but he never finishes any project he starts. He keeps getting fired because he's on weed, or he keeps getting drunk, or he keeps fighting people at work. You don't want him working on your property. Here's the other thing. Oh, and he doesn't anyway. He's too lazy. He's stoned. And it turns out that she's getting ready to leave the guy because she's crazy, or she's loose, or she's something's crazy. You made the worst decision in picking these people based on your lack of knowledge. And I'm talking about background reports, debt-to-income ratio, criminal history, rental history. We just went on it based on our feeling and our emotion, and they're close to our church. I mean, you just did everything wrong, and they destroyed the place. Oh, he stayed behind and you had to evict him. Okay. Oh, and then in the third month, just before you evicted him, he pushed the bankruptcy button. Now he's there for indefinitely how long? You just lost all that income, but it sure felt good in the beginning, and that's what we're trying to avoid, right? We're not going to work off feelings. We want to work off knowledge and facts. So that's a big threat. The other one that I found, and I would drop a client in a second, is a bad attitude. And by bad attitude, and I can judge that, that's when the guy says, well, it's just a rental. I said, listen, dude, the doors don't lock. That window's broken. There's broken glass everywhere. These guys are moving in 10 minutes, okay? Well, it's just a rental. Yeah, forget you. All right. What else? Oh, and they also see renters as second class. I think we're getting close to time here. Choosing terrible renters, you've got an uncompetitive property because you don't know what sells and what doesn't sell, and you don't have the money to make it competitive anyway. You got the crappy local government. Hey, there you go. Shutting down businesses, laws, overzealous HOA people. Anyway, so that's the SWOT of this whole thing. Remember that the three most important ingredients is the renter and the property and the owner. All right? How good's the property? The unsuccessful owner will say it's good enough for a renter. The successful owner will say it's great. We've got great tenants and we've got great properties. All right? So the spotlight always seems to be on the renter. How good is the renter? The strength of the renter is going to be a huge contributing factor to your success. All right, you can do background checks. You can meet them, look at them face to face. You want to make sure that you don't compromise on any aspect of the background check or the credit report or any of that. 600 or higher is what we want. We're not worried about medical debt because, for the most part, I don't think somebody getting injured or somebody getting sick is necessarily a reflection of their ability to pay back a loan or pay rent on time. All right. Now, let me see. What else do we want to cover here in the last couple minutes we've got? Is your property clean? Do you have the right amount of bathrooms? Do you have plenty of parking, storage, location? We covered that. Now, finally, so you get the three most important ingredients. How good is the property? How good is the renter? And ultimately, how good is the owner? Because the buck stops with you at your desk. Now, what else do we have? I think that's really it, Morrow. I mean, we cover it for 3 hours on the online course, and that's called The Successful and Profitable Landlord. Okay? Any more slides? I think we've kind of covered it, round terms. All right. Well, thanks for joining us for this podcast, and we're going to be back with another one. Go look at them. Go to our website, www.homewithwes.com, and you can always get me, Wes, at Home with Wes. Love being with you. See you next time.